the people, I think, oftentimes don't use the entire kit of the HealBrand. I think people rely on book 3 a little bit too much, when in reality, book 3 isn't that amazing. So if you go into your book 3 real quick. So in here, the numbers on these skills are going to be a little bit different than what you're actually going to see in World v. World. So take that year 1, for instance. That in here looks like it's pretty decent, 6.5 seconds of stab. Well, in World v. World, that's 1.25 seconds. So it's not all that useful unless you're really, really good at timing that, which I don't know if I've ever met anybody who can time it like that. So I'm just gonna, assume that we're not gonna be hitting that perfectly every time. So you basically don't even want to press that button. It's kind of a useless skill. Your main thing that you're going to be using while you're in book 3 is your 4, because it's an AoE stun break. That's the biggest thing that you have in here. The 5 is good for the extra toughness, but it only gives 1 stack of stab, which isn't really all that great. So your main thing in here really is just that 4 for the AoE stun break.
Hold up, that's an AoE stun break too?
Yes, sir, skis.
Oh, damn, I've been using that just like when we're on the move, but like I didn't know that was actually a stun break. Sweet.
So that's just another one of the stun breaks to add to your arsenal. On top of your mantra liberation, your elite mantra that gives stab, your stand your ground, and just going into book 3 if you are talented into that, which I don't know. I think y'all are running the battle presence instead of the abdominal curve. Actually, I don't know. I don't think it matters. Cool. So yeah, there's quite a few stun breaks. It's going into the book, hitting that 4, stand your ground, all your charges of mantra liberation. Now, from watching some of the footage that y'all put up on HealBrand, the thing I'm actually seeing y'all's group die a lot of is conditions. Y'all are dying from slows, chills, or MOs. So if we're not really getting too much of that, like say for instance there's a bubble right here, this isn't going to help anybody with roots because this just applies resistance, but nobody can get boons when they're in the bubble. So what do I have to do to get them out of those roots? Well, I got to cleanse them. The best way to do that is either to use your mantra of lore if you're running that, and just one quick tap of that can get anybody out of a root, unless they're just overloaded with condies. But the easiest way to deal with that is just going into your Tome 2. Going into Tome 2 will cleanse 3 conditions off of 5 people and remove 2 extras from yourself. Pretty crazy. Just from going in there. Once you're in there, you can hit 5, and that'll boon convert 5 boons on 5 targets. It's kind of OP. And it has a massive radius compared to that resistance field and your other abilities. It has a 600 radius, which is quite a bit larger than that resist field. So if somebody's stuck in a bubble, I can be this far away. I can still get y'all out of that bubble if y'all are rooted. If it's a stun, it's a different thing. But you should always be playing in your party so you can actually see if people have those conditions. And if they're still stuck and they don't have any conditions, then they're stunned. You can just hit them with a stun break. One of the other things that I want to talk about that a lot of people kind of miss is the kind of where your positioning is. So everybody want to come to me real quick, except for you there, Luigi. You want to stay in the center there? So this little ring right here is a pretty good indicator. So I'm trying to hit basically the maximum amount of people as I can with this conic shape that comes out of my body when I hit a mantra. So I want to be about a dodge roll away, right? So I can be a little bit further back, but really about midway through your mantra is about where you want the tag to be from you. So you're hitting the maximum amount of people. And you don't always have to be doing it directly at the tag. If your party is right behind you, like right here on purple, and the tag's right there, I'm going to flick myself and I'm going to hit my mantra over there. I got to protect my party too. So just be conscious of that. Try to hit as many people as you can. If you're not hitting more than 3 people, or if you're not hitting at least 3 people with your mantra, unless you're trying to save yourself or somebody else, you shouldn't be pressing it. The other thing that I think is a little bit take it a little too seriously is stab output. So stab is great, don't get me wrong, but one corrupt and all the stab that you have is gone. So you got to watch and make sure you're not getting like a bunch of stacks of it. I 30 stacks of stab, 1 corrupt, every single one of those is gone. So you got to use it kind of sparingly. I don't ever really want my group to get above like 6 stacks, you know? And even then, I feel like I did something wrong because I should probably only be, if I have 6 stacks, it means I hit stand your ground and then I also hit a mantra after that. Or somebody else is providing stab, which is totally fine. But I have to be aware of that. So if I'm about to hit stand your ground, I want to make sure that at least 3 people in my party either don't have stab or have very low stacks of stab, or they need a stun break, which means they don't have stab. So that's really the big thing. Be conscious of your party's boons. That is the essence of this class is boons, boons, boons. But your role isn't just a stab bot. It is all boons. And cleansing. That's a big thing that people don't think about very much. Cleansing from you is really crazy. So just to go back over the abilities in your book 2, you go into it, that'll cleanse, your 5 cleanses, and your 2 cleanses, and it does extra healing for how many things that it cleanses. So, 3 condies off of 5 targets, and it'll heal percentage increase for each condi cleanse. So if you cleanse 3 condies off of somebody, it can take them from 50% health to 100% health. It's a pretty insane amount of healing. So, use it. It's really good, and it has a 2 3/4 second cooldown. So going back to the topic of stab, yes, it's important, but what I find to be more important when I'm running, especially when we're running up against people that are playing power, which is basically everyone, Aegis. So does anybody know what the primary source of Aegis is for HealBrand?
Your heal skill.
Yeah. Do you know what the second source of it is?
It might be your not shield. Is it the shield 4?
It is
Like,
your
and your
mace
mace
shield
and shield?
skills.
Yeah.
So you're 3 and you're 4. So if you take a look at the time that the Aegis lasts on your heal skill, 3 1/4 seconds. It's not that long. But if you take a look at your shield, 6 1/2 seconds. So if you're going to pre-Aegis before combat, which you should be, right? And pre-Aegis, pre-stab, like 1 stack of your mantra, get some Aegis out there, and then watch. If you're not going to hit anybody, you may as well just hit that shield ability. Keep your mantra, because you don't need to heal anybody before combat, right? So hit your shield ability, give everybody protection and Aegis, and then go into the fight. Another good thing to do is if you're not stealthing up, because you don't want to get hit by a bunch of damage when you're stealthing up, that 3 skill puts Aegis on your party for a long time. It's about twice as long as that shield skill would, and 4 times almost as your mantra of solace. So it's 12 seconds. It's pretty crazy. The big caveat with this is you have to take damage for that to go out. So if there's like a well on the ground, like, I don't know, symbol or something like that, if I want to hit my 3 and then walk into that, just get poked by it and have mine go off, then everybody in my party gets a really long time of Aegis and protection. So huge. When you're going into a melee hit or something like that, hitting that 3 ability, it'll block an attack from whoever's inside of that little circle, and then it'll give everybody Aegis. So you're basically blocking 2 attacks for at least 1 person, 1 attack for 5 people. The other thing, let's go good to keep going on the mace shield skills here. Your 5 ability, if you let it just run out, it doesn't do anything. But if you hit it before it runs out, it will do a heal to 5 targets. Keep in mind that this is also a light field, so if somebody blasts it, you're getting cleansing. And that also goes for whirls from the scrappers. They get cleansing bolts. So you're doing extra cleanses for that. So what I try to do is I try to time that to basically get as much time as I can with that up, and then I'll click it. So it's a 4-second duration. So 1, 2, 3, click, right? So getting as much time as I can of blocking any kind of projectiles coming at us, which could be like a Dragon Hunter F1, them trying to pull somebody. You can block a pull without even having to give somebody stab, just by having that thing up. Pretty crazy. So, just kind of using the whole kit to your advantage. 2, of course, putting that down as an extra light field as well. You can blast that if you want to for more cleansing. If you're looking to do some extra healing and you're in your weapons, you don't have your book 2 up, which is your primary source of healing. Going into your staff is going to be huge. Your staff 2 heals for quite a bit, but also your empower heals for a bunch, like a lot. It pulses 3 times. So if you can slap down your 2 and then hit empower, if that's not going to put you in danger, you can get your party to pretty good health, to a pretty good point of health, just by those 2 abilities alone. And if you're still having issues at that point, you need to be using your heal skill to get more Aegis out. And then immediately after you use both of those abilities on your staff, swap and try to get even more Aegis out, get some protection out, and then start blocking stuff. If that's not enough, then you can go into your book 2 and really pump out some heals with your waters. Any questions so far? No, I'm kind of tossing a bunch of random stuff at you.
No, this is good. I just learned the other day that staff 2 does a decent amount of heals. I just kind of been not ignoring it, but I still kind of use it offensively. Like, there's no point to me doing it, but I'm just like, this is an offensive skill or a blast, and that's all it's good for. So so I would just try to blast whatever, but it actually makes more sense to try and
exactly.
hit your party with it whenever possible.
And you can blast your own fields too. So your symbol of swiftness is a light field, and you can blast your light field and get cleansing. So if you want to be a little mid-maxy, if you're going to heal with that Holy Strike, just toss down your symbol of swiftness as well. Get some cleanses while you're at it. The Holy Strike will pulse 4 times. Healing for 525 each time is what mine will say. I don't know what y'all was saying. Probably maybe a little different depending on if y'all have full Ascended or not. But it doesn't really matter. It still heals quite a bit compared to, like, for somebody who's just running like a Zerker thing. That's a lot of healing. So.
When the heck does it pulse? There's like no animation. I know it probably does it immediately.
It does it.
3, 4. Okay, there's just like a very subtle thing afterwards.
If you actually cast it on our friend over here, who is conveniently running from us, it only hits once on an enemy. Never mind.
Yeah.
It takes 4 times in the heal, 1 time hit. So there's a little cool thing about this too. It's kind of a bug, but they don't want to change it, I guess. You do not need line of sight to use your Holy Strike at all. I can do this behind a wall. So, for instance, if I'm on a wall somewhere and there's enemies down below that looks like they might be stealthing up or something like that, or they're trying to do something, and I don't really want to get pulled, I'm just sitting on the edge of the wall. Say this is the edge of the wall. I'm back here. I'm just sitting as far away as I can, hoping that the firebrands don't pull me. I can still hit this. I can still hit the people below me way over there, without having any line of sight. It's really weird, but it's a cool little trick if you want to get a little bit of poke out there. That's also an effective way to use it if you're playing burn as well, knowing that you don't have to be in view of the people to actually use that. So you can use it around corners or what have you. Just try and get a little bit of extra damage out. So. The other thing that we like to do, and I think most groups like to do this, is being aware of your line of warding. Line of warding is not a crazy CC, but it is pretty solid. 1200 range. It can knock 10 targets down. So it either knocks 10 targets down or takes 10 stacks of stab away. And if you kind of time that a little bit, and this is something for commanding there, so if you want to make a call like lines ahead, all of your firebrands can cast that line forward, and I can almost guarantee you, if you got 3 firebrands, you're going to get at least 2 people. I mean, at least 2 or 3. I mean, that's 30 stacks of stab that's going to be taken off if you do it right in the middle of their group. And I don't know anybody who's putting 30 stacks of stab up that quick. So you're probably going to knock some people, and you can punish that really easily.
Okay, quick question on that. So what a lot of the time when calls are for lines ahead, the lines ahead are to stop or to potentially hit them on their advance, or is it to catch their retreat? Like, what is the point?
So it is.
Well, because a lot of the time, like folks will call for like lines ahead, and we're not in range. Like I can't touch them right
Mhm,
now.
mhm.
So I'm kind of
I probably
assuming it's
wouldn't cast it.
because they're pushing, but I'm kind of like I don't want to cast it because they're just sidestepping us right now, and I don't really want to use it.
So
Um,
two
Again,
caveats.
this was when Gage was driving, so
Mhm.
like take that with a grain of thought.
Take
Um,
two caveats to that to kind of see if I can't kind of give you a broad answer to that question. So, um, I I would say if your commander's calling for it, just do it. If it doesn't work, it's not your fault. So, why not? That being said, if it's completely open field, they're clearly not coming for you. You can be like, "Hey, I don't think they're coming." So
sure.
you can always communicate, and I'm sure that the tag is always friendly with that. I know that I want to hear people talking more and more. Just being aware of that. Um, the the other thing, really, to answer the question about when to use, it is both for retreat and advance. So, say for instance, we're fighting on an enemy tower, and the enemy comes out and trying to do like a large bomb, and they're going to go back into the portal. Well, I could say lines ahead or lines right here. See this purple thing over here? Let's say that's the entrance to the tower or something like that. So I'm going to say like lines right there, lines on purple, lines on purple. And I want to see everybody's lines right there because I don't want them to get in there. I don't want them to get in there. So lines like that, really good because then you could just bomb right there as well. Lines and damage here, lines and wells right there, lines and wells. That's gonna secure some downs. May not get every single one of them, but you'll get some people, and that'll turn a fight. The other way to use it is when they're advancing. So say, you're kind of playing a little bit ranged here. I'm waiting for the enemy group to come. They're coming kind of over here on purple. They might be coming around. I'm looping a little bit. And they start kind of coming forward and trying to poke. Well, if it looks like they're trying to make a melee push, well, I just drop your lines right there. Let's see if we can stop them right there. Drop a little bit of damage. So when they're sitting in that, they're just getting hit. So you're using it kind of for both, but I would say that in most situations, you're trying to separate groups or break them up so that you can pick off smaller groups of them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
tossing that into the middle of an enemy group, you're to try and break up their supports and their DPS, and then nuke down one of those groups.
Got it.
And that kind of goes into another thing you could do. Is I almost always enter combat in my book 1 for 2 reasons. In World v World, it's because, man, I want some bags too, dang it. So your 5, the burning damage that people do with your book 1/5 counts towards you getting hits off. So you can get bags just by hitting your 5 and then your allies doing damage. So if you want some bags, hit that. And what's wrong with a little bit of burning going out, Why not? It's not going to be a lot, but it'll be some hits. And that'll get you some bags.
So I will say, like, the one thing that I've found, and again, the only evidence I have for it is, like, at one point in my video, and we were already, like, getting, like, hard push, so that may have been it. But I know that burning gets converted to Aegis. So I'm kind of dropped the AoE fire, the skill 4 in there, and I could see clearly like every single hit that it was doing was getting blocked. So I do know that's somewhat of a danger.
Yes,
If
but
you're on your back foot, it seems like I feel like I should qualify that because like it seems like if everybody's running their stuff, it's not going to be a big thing. But if we're already struggling, that just seems to prevent us from getting back up because like now everybody's got a block.
yeah, sure. And in those situations, you probably won't be in your book 1. And if you are, it's just kind of
Right.
like, well, I'm out of everything else. I may as well do something.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Really, if to kind of break that down a little bit, the game right now is very much a cleanse corrupt. How fast can I cleanse your condies that you put on me that your necros corrupted, right? So if your necros are getting a lot of corrupts out, they're really using their weapon skills and getting those shades off effectively. That Aegis that they're getting, it won't matter really because Well of Corruption is unblockable. So it's kind of a push-pull. So yes, will it convert into Aegis? Sure, but Aegis will also convert back into burning. So it's kind of a two-way street on that, and the argument can kind of go either direction. And that's kind of, I mean, the whole idea of AW is to play Condi. So we deal with that quite a bit. It's like, well, I could just cleanse it off. Well, okay, cleanse all the Condis off. Then it takes, you know, you only have so many cleanses, right? If a Firebrand hits his book 2, and then he hits his 5, and then he hits his 2 again. Well, now what do I do now? I can hit my mantra, but that only cleanses 2 conditions off of the targets, right? So what if they have like 7 because every single boon they had just got corrupted by a necro in 1 click? I'm not going to be able to do too much.
Sure.
And the same thing goes with the scrappers as well. You know, they run out of cleanses. You know?
Yeah, the big thing that I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of that is Purge Gyro. It's just Purge Gyro. It's and maybe Elixir Gun 3, the cone. Just because the cleansing on that is very strong, and if you time it wrong, right, and they've got their Purge Gyro up, that is like invuln for them for a little while.
Sure.
Again, it's not infinite, like you said. Like they're gonna run out, and that's got to cool down like everything else. But I've been hesitant to use any burning skills just because I don't want to put that on folks. Is like
in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to make a big difference. Your damage, your burning damage personally, doesn't really do anything. And if they're cleansing it off into Aegis, or if they're getting Aegis from some other place and you're getting it off at all, like just by doing the hits, you're overall that's kind of helpful. Make them waste their skills on just your burning. I mean, your burning damage doesn't do shit. Make them waste their skills on that.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah. If they cleanse that and they don't cleanse like a poison,
and then they don't exactly. They don't cleanse a bunch of chill off or cripple.
Or chill, yeah.
I mean, they're screwed. You know. The big thing about this book, though, is the pull. It is that pull. It's 900 range, 240 radius, grabs 5 people. Pretty crazy. If you could time that, it's even better than the lines. Say, okay, we're gonna pull in 5 right here on purple. All right, everybody, 1, 2, 3, pull. And if you all 5 pull right there at about the same time, man, if you don't get somebody, I'm gonna be pretty damn surprised. If you can also time that with your scrappers like Thunderclap, you're gonna get somebody. There's no way, unless those people are just gods, you know. And I just don't see that being the case. So, watching out for stuff like that. I know I'm kind of running into the 30-minute timer here, so I want to kind of open the floor. Are there any questions regarding anything that I've said or anything that I didn't cover that you want me to go over? I don't.
I think the only thing to remember is the line 5 or your staff line. It depends on where you're facing when you place it.
And you can.
So you don't want to like someone calls for lines, or like you would call for lines, and then some people have lines that are like here, and some people have lines that are here. So you want to be careful about where you're facing when you cast it.
And you can turn yourself while you're casting it, and that will manipulate where it ends up. So it doesn't have to be at the whole time you're casting. It just has to be right before it goes off. And that will determine which way it's facing. So just watching for that kind of stuff. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
About face works really good too. Like if you're running away and we're trying to throw down lines or something. If you have about face on while you're running away, you can kind of cast it. I don't use that as much as I feel like I should, but I feel like it's a really useful skill to learn.
All right. Do y'all wanna scrim?